Sorry, everyone. Please hold.
Welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you.
Green room.
Can I just tell you that it is pitch black outside, so that's why my lighting is like this, because we're just going off of the very tall, my light, hold on. Lucky for you, I'm not in pajamas.
Lucky for me, Kevin.
Okay.
Oh, I like your little top. That's pretty.
It's a dress.
Oh, you're giving us a dress today. Okay. Yeah.
I was telling, I don't know who, about I hate shorts. So I only ever wear in the summertime. I mean, I have shorts and I'll wear them if I have to. But yeah, I'd much rather wear a dress, a skirt, even like capris, but not shorts. They're not my thing.
Is it just not your thing, or?
I never know what shoes to wear with shorts. That's the first problem, because it's like, I just never know what to wear with them. Sandals?
Or sandals.
And then it's like, and then I don't like a closed-toe shoe in the summer because I don't want like my feet to be hot. Crocs. Oh, look at you, Brittany. I read this.
Crocs.
I read something once about Crocs that you like trip over them. So I never actually tried them for myself because I always was afraid. It's so weird.
Every time I see my niece and she's got like the little charms that you put in them and stuff.
Oh yeah.
She's a sophomore in college, and they all go to classes. Well, they go to classes in sweatpants and Crocs, and they all look like they just rolled out of bed. And I'm like, that is not the look. Not the look.
You didn't do that when you were in college?
I didn't. When I went to college, it was after I went to cosmetology school.
Okay.
By the time I went to college, I was
put together.
And plus I was working 2 jobs. So I was always dressed for something else.
Yeah.
So I always envied the people that like just could roll out of the dorm and 2 buildings over and they were sitting in class.
I see you got a haircut.
I did shave my head.
Looks good.
Thanks. Yeah, I was starting to look a little sparse again. My hair has like this like critical moment where when it's growing in, if it gets like just a little bit too long, then it starts to look like I have like 7 hairs I'm trying to work a comb over. And I can't give Kevin any more to talk about.
Is he even on here yet? He's not. He'll have to catch that on Epicuren.com/Zoom replay.
Yes, we will. Yes, we will. So I sent you the presentation this morning. I really dove into some statistics. So I hope people find this helpful. It's a little bit product and more statistics.
And you should be able to share your screen with us, but if you can't, you just let me know.
Okay.
And I won't go on mute this time.
Okay. I have it already set up behind, so I should be okay.
Okay.
Hopefully it will be seamless.
Yes, and today is Friday, so we're gonna have to give it some extra time.
Yes. Oh, I'm gonna turn my volume off on my phones too. Pet peeve.
My sons have these little. This is my pen that I'm using today. Have you seen? And then this is my younger son, but then my older one who has the red hair, his has a red head.
That is awesome.
Good morning, good afternoon.
Good morning, good afternoon.
Yes. So, do you have any plans for this weekend?
No, because it's going to rain all weekend.
It is? It's raining right now so heavily. It's not okay. But I thought it was going to be nice tomorrow. Please tell me it's going to be nice tomorrow.
Well, I mean, the shore might be different than here, but
yeah, maybe.
The last weather report I saw, tomorrow it's
scattered storms, I think.
Yeah, but then Sunday is going to be good. Yeah, so I'm going to move my car because the garage, because of all that's going on in the garage that I park it in, they are closed on the weekends now. So I have to move it to a different garage.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but it seems to be getting better. The beginning of this week looked like the garage was almost full. So if it's almost full, then that would mean that they'll start working through the weekend.
Okay. Oh, I get it. That's why they limited it. That makes sense.
It's not like any big inconvenience. It's a half a block past where I normally park. It's just I don't like the other garage because I have to walk past a lot of I just don't like where it is. I'm fussy.
But it's not far from you, right?
No, it's on 34th, a block from where Macy's is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. In Herald.
Look at Mitzi's enjoying her coffee over there.
Yes, good morning, Miss Mitzi.
Send the rain to California. I wish I could. I wish I could. Let's blow it that way.
The rain? Oh, you have rain?
Oh, so much rain. So much rain.
It's going to be 100 degrees today. I don't know. You want to switch?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
As long as it's not humid. Like, I don't know. Do you guys have real humidity there, or is it not that bad?
It just depends. Right now, it's a drier heat.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. Alexa keeps going off with these warnings that there's going to be a flash flood or something because it's that storm that came up from like South Carolina up the coast. And every so often I hear this like ding, and I'm like, what is that? And it's Alexa.
Alexa.
Yes.
I don't have her in my home. I'm one of the few homes I know that doesn't have somebody talking in it, but it creeps me out a little bit, I gotta tell you. It really kind of freaks me out, so I don't have her. And my kids are always like, Mom, why don't we have an Alexa or whatever that other one is?
Google.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, the Hey Google. Sorry if I just set anybody else's off, because if you're listening to it. So sorry. Yeah, I don't have it.
No.
We'll be randomly watching like Netflix or something, and someone will say something and Alexa will pick it up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Also,
And it keeps with a chat bot to learn more stuff about your lifestyle. So it will ask you a bunch of questions like favorite movies and all of those things because it's trying to customize the algorithm. It's a little crazy.
Totally. But Sean Paul's already, he's getting interviewed. He's like, yes, well. I'm so glad you asked, Alexa. Well, hello, everybody. Good afternoon, good morning. Good morning, good afternoon. We're just going to hang in there a little bit because it's Friday, and so we're just going to wait for some more friends to join us. And then Sean Paul will be teaching us about some menu modifications. I'm excited to see your super professional presentation that I already peeked at. So thanks for that. And we have some really exciting news about next week that maybe we should share all throughout this meeting.
Yes.
Because I'm super excited about it.
We can't talk about it enough. I am very pleased.
So do you want to share with us what's happening on Monday?
Absolutely. So Monday is a special edition of Ask Our Experts, and we will be joined by none other than our CEO, Mike Lorman, who will be sharing with us a little bit about who he is and about Colleen and his early working with Epicuren. Some great past history about the brand, and we'll have some nice Q&A. I'm so excited for people to get a chance to learn a little bit more about Mike and to see what myself and our whole team really love about working for Mike and the personal touch that he brings every day to all of us. So that will be Monday. And then Wednesday, we will be doing an open Q&A called Common Asks. Basic questions or formulation or things that are happening with our company. We thought it would be nice to do an open forum to chat a little bit about the brand and get some questions answered. And then on Friday, we will be joined by Tambra, yes, who will be working with us to talk about post-treatment specialties. So we're very excited about that. And post-treatment, of course, we mean derm offices, but also injectables or slightly more invasive services and product recommendations following those services. As we have seen a marked uptick in more dermatologists and physicians' offices reaching out to our brand because we really kind of fall into a clean beauty category, and we're efficacious, yet we are clean and have natural componentry, but we show great results and are gentle enough. So those are some things coming up for next week. Of course, the announcements will be out as soon as the art department finishes the watercolor. And so we'll be posting those this afternoon. And please tell a friend, bring a friend to see Mike on Monday.
Mike on Monday, we should have named it that. Monday with Mike.
Mike's Monday.
Very exciting. Well, thank you. So I suppose we should maybe start since it's 12:34, but
okay.
Oh, yep, more are joining us as I speak. So with that, I am Jonna, Regional Account Executive in the Northeast, where it's raining and dark as night. I don't know what is happening. Happy Friday, everyone, and good afternoon, good morning, good afternoon. I am recording this. You can view past recordings on epicuren.com/Zoom replay. I have noticed you guys are so awesome that you're already putting in your email addresses to be entered to win our product giveaway that we will be announcing on Monday. You could submit your email address in the chat button or hashtag EpicurenExpert for additional entries to win. We also have a wholesale offer for you today at the end of this call. So our pal and fearless leader, Jean-Paul, will you please educate us on some menu modifications?
Absolutely. Well, this is somewhat of an add-on to the discussion we had last Friday that was around reopening and the reality of what our guests are asking for, what our therapists are telling us. And we gave a preview that we would be talking about what we call menu modifications. And basically what that means is we understand that the customers that are coming to see us right now may have slightly different skincare needs than previously. And because we always talk about convenience for all of you as therapists and business owners, considering looking at some modifications that can be made to your menu, of course, with our support, to help to streamline your offerings. And so when I was having the discussion last week, it made me think, I need to find some data around some of these recommendations. And some of you that I have visited in person with some of our team members, I've talked about some things in the past about some of the examples I'm going to show you, which are menus that maybe get too big. And through my career and my path and what I do, I've done a lot of analytics with owners where they really look at cost per service, they really look at their productivity, a lot of metrics within their business to find out how they can ensure that they're not overspending. And one area is often the services, trying to have everything for everyone. But then when you really kind of dive into the services that you book, you start to see that a large percentage of them are a European facial or a signature facial. And so what we thought we would do is just kind of give you some data that's out there. And of course, this presentation, just like last week's, will be available to you along with the visuals that I use. And I provided references for all of the data and all of the statistics that I'm going to give you. So you'll know exactly where I pulled them from, should you want to go back and refer to those, because the web is a wonderful resource to find a ton of stuff. And I want to make sure that everyone, if they really want to dive into some of the figures and the data, they can access it themselves. So I'm going to get started. So as you know, our dream team loves sharing content on these Ask Our Expert sessions that we believe will aid your business in both convenience and increased profitability. I constantly talk about profitability because that's the #1 opportunity once we get past caring and nurturing our guests and bringing them high quality services. We have to make sure that, you know, you can pay the bills. So based on our discussion last week, we shared how minor alterations to your service menu might assist you during this time. And I'm kind of being specific because, you know, we all know this time what's going on, to help ease your daily operations and meet or even exceed the requests of those returning guests. So here's what we're going to review: state of spa business with those statistics, current menu of services, requests, which we're getting requests from all of you, but we also know that you're getting requests from your guests, and we see a lot of it posted on social. Some streamlined options. And then again, how to market, what we talked about and what we're going to do. And then obviously a Q&A, and then I'll come back and summarize everything that we're talking about. So the state of the spa business right now, I want to get into kind of who the client is today. So I'm going to show you some visuals. Sorry, it takes a second. All right. So state of spa business. So who is your customer today? So this resource comes to us from our friends at American Spa and MindBody, which is a software system that many of you might be using to book your appointments and things like that. So trends in 2019, because that's the last set of data that's come out, because we're only halfway into 2020. Of course, I looked for 2020 data. Couples and groups, of course, really big trend. The females, women that are coming to see you, account for about 85% of your spa clientele. And I'm sure many of you know that. Who that female guest is, she's sophisticated. She's distrustful of fads. She's demanding tangible results. She seeks an ongoing relationship with you, her therapist. Next, millennials. Now millennials are accounting for about 20% of appointments in 2019. Also, the day spa, or the spa itself, is now becoming the new country club, where people are or were congregating before all of this started happening about 3 or 4 months ago. Another one is inclusivity, easy for me to say, is the new mandate. People want to feel welcome no matter what their lifestyle choices or needs that they have might be. And then finally, simplicity, which is really the item that we're going to talk about today. So you'll see here on the bottom, a majority of consumers are comfortable with the idea of returning to their hair salon. I know that the title says that, and you're like, why is that here? I wanted you to see where skincare business comes in. About 38% of people are saying they're coming back and they're feeling comfortable. So I want you to just be aware of that. I also looked at an article that was in the Harvard Business Review. Like, you wouldn't think Harvard would be talking about aesthetic businesses, but they are. An article that was written called Innovation versus Complexity delves into the dark side of innovation. We seek to constantly innovate and update the services we do. And you see it consistently online with new services, new modalities, new equipment that's being used. And the article goes on to say that complexity can sometimes be the enemy of profit. And what that means, the takeaway for me was, the more complicated your spa or spa menu can become, the more expensive it can potentially be to operate. Now, this may be a slightly, nerve-wracking, because we want to be on the cusp of technology. It can be nerve-wracking for some people, but consider the Model T analysis. Everyone knows the Model T car from Ford. What product or service would you recommend if you only had one? And that's where a lot of our clients are today when they call to book the service, because often the person they're speaking with when they book a service in a multi person operation or establishment, they might be speaking to a person who does not do the services. And so you're relying on that communication. So a long list of treatments, and the person on the other end of the phone just goes with the easiest option. And kind of when you think about when you grocery shop also, sometimes too much choice and people get confused. And so thinking about if you only offered one, maximum simplicity, essential services only, and that's kind of how we got into this topic, and then identifying that service which would drive upwards of 80% of your revenue. And so I'm going to give you some additional statistics. Right now, as we know, massage is the #1 service in both destination and private spas. Always the first recommended. And then under that is facials, is most popular with over sometimes up to 20 different choices on different spa menus. When the top 3 consumer requests, as many of you have heard me say in the past, anti-aging, brightening, and congestion, or what we might call as acne. So how often does a client book that European or basic facial, as we talk about, and then they get in the room and then they need the works? They need extractions, they need additional treatments, they need add-ons. And research shows over 90% of those first-time facial services are booked at that entry offering. So then when we look back at all of the amazing services that are on the menu, and you think that 90% of those services are just the entry-level treatment, we want to ensure that we're helping you to create that menu that's just right for right now. So, current menu of services. So I chose 4 different menus, none within our network. And I wanted you to see when you look at this menu, which we believe very complete: spa, nails, massage, facials, and these are all, again, outside of our network. But you look at this menu, and to me, it's a lot. It's a lot of text. It's a lot of description. It's a lot of breakdown. And while we, within our business, often will understand everything that's featured on there, to the layperson or a guest who is looking for relaxation or a great facial, sometimes this could be perhaps a bit overwhelming. And when you really go and look back at some of the services that are on your own menu, you often try and remember, when was the last time that I did X, Y, and Z facial? When was the last time I did that massage? And so would you agree that some spa menus now have a lot in common with restaurant menus? And my team has always heard me talk about the Cheesecake Factory because it's a multitude of pages, a lot of choice. And in my mind, I always think back of what would it be like to be a cook in the kitchen at that restaurant and think, how on earth do they manage to cook all of those dishes with all that choice? But, I don't work at Cheesecake Factory, so that's okay. Listing out every offering, every service sounds amazing and sumptuous, of course. But what I found written in American Spa Magazine, an article called Simple Life, they shared that how many innovative services are really adding value to your company. Does offering 30 treatments rather than 8 really enable you to sell more, or is it just more? So does excessive choice bog you down, or worse, does it bewilder your client? So I want to show you 2 other examples that I found that I thought looked great. So I look at these 2 menus and I think simple, based on time, and really right to the point. And I'm thinking that maybe some of us on this session might agree that these kind of do encompass what we would normally do. Facial treatments, there's 5 different, which I think is a good selection. They put their peels as an add-on, which is also great. And then obviously their waxing services, the one on the left does not do, as we can see, they don't do massage services. But when I look at this menu, you book on time, the amount of time that your therapist is going to spend. So that's basically the amount of money you're paying on your payroll, and then the cost of delivering that service, the goods that are used for the service. So I thought I would pause here and take some questions if anyone had any observations between that slide and that slide that they wanted to maybe pause it.
We aren't getting any questions just yet.
Okay.
If you do have questions, just submit it in the chat box, or you can come off mute. I really like this. The differences seem so obvious to me. Yeah, loving the simple menu, Shelly is saying. I found going, even as an esthetician, going into a spa when there's too much on there, feeling really overwhelmed and saying to myself, okay, so this one's $200 and this one's $240. What am I really getting that's different? And when it's the same time frame. So I love the idea too of doing it based off of time. I think that's really a great way to go. Makes it simple too. Yeah, a lot of people agreeing less is more.
Yeah.
You're getting a question here. Is it great to just offer a customized facial and then have the add-on menu for the chemical peels, high frequency, and microderm?
Absolutely. And that's really where I would start is, as we know, our number one treatment is our signature facial. Sometimes our locations will call it a red carpet facial. But there's always going to be add-ons, right? There's going to be your extractions. There's going to be an eye or lip treatment. There's going to be our new neck treatment, which we'll talk about in a second. So those can all be listed as add-ons, but you're really starting as almost an a la carte menu, which starts with the main service, and then the guest can then choose what they want to add on. And as they build, they understand what the additional, as Jonna said, $40 would be if the basic facial was this, and then they went to the next step. And sometimes when you have a lot of text on a menu, as we've all been there when we're standing behind someone at the cash wrap or the reception desk, and the person's looking at the menu and their eyes are just like circling kind of thing, and you're behind them and you know exactly what you want. Sometimes all of that text, while we think it's explanatory, can be sometimes misunderstood. So that's why we thought we would talk about this. Does that make sense?
Yeah, Mitzi is also saying that she likes the custom facial because it feels more personalized, which I totally agree with.
And that's what ends up happening too, when you work in an operation with a multitude of therapists and you talk to a lot of therapists, oftentimes they feel nervous about the upsell because the client booked a European facial or a basic facial. Then again, like I said, they get in the room and you end up having to do 4 or 5 add-ons, and then the ticket is more than double. And then you feel this awkwardness when you get to the desk. So perhaps streamlining or making some modifications as a thought might be something that would assist also in the culture overall of the business. So great, and I'm glad that people are kind of just being open enough to kind of take a look at this. So think about, when you have more protocols, requires more training. When you have more services, that means more and newer equipment. Now, I'm not saying, don't buy the hydrofacial machine. Those are definitely great add-ons. But I look back and I remember, who remembers Vichy showers? Who remembers the trend in day spas in the 90s when everybody had to have a wet room? And then 2 years later, when you're still paying off the wet room and you realize that you did one body treatment in 2 weeks, and you think, oh my gosh, the investment that we made to build that out, how many wet rooms I walked into that were just repurposed into large couples rooms. So that's where I start to think about that impact of too much, and then it ends up kind of costing on the back end. Also, longer explanations require being on the phone by non-service professionals. You know, oftentimes, as we know, the concierge professional is most often not the person who's receiving services a lot. And so we at Epicuren try to spend a decent amount of time with our concierge team to help give them proficiency in describing these services. Because ultimately, if a customer calls and wants an explanation, we have to make sure they understand what that service is all about. Next is less consistency means more customer comps. We all hate that when a customer comes back or the feedback isn't as savory as we hope. And then finally, operational optimization, thinking about the linens. Some of the data or examples that I looked at talked about different colored towels for different colored guests and services. So the massage guest received a beige towel and the facial guest received a sage colored towel, and then the other guest received this color towel, and all of those linens was a big drain on the business. It's a great way to identify, but again, the more that you get big, sometimes those things get too big. So next is requests. So we've talked about a lot of these requests on our calls or on our sessions recently. Talking about Wednesday of last week, we talked about masked knee, which I put a nice visual on here. Really the number one request that we're getting right now with guests coming in, because those paper masks against delicate skin that perhaps already has some sort of condition like a rosacea or dryness or flaking already is exacerbating the problem. So how about relaxation or stress relief? Oftentimes I hear a guest, they don't care what kind of massage it is, as long as they can relax and, relieve the tension. We also talked about peels or enzyme protein complex alternatives that, as we saw on that one very simplified menu, the peels were outlined, which I think is exceptional. Anti-aging, of course, brightening, and then, of course, missing from those revised menus, I think, were ancillary services like lashes and waxing, our topic earlier this week. So those are things that should always be on the menu. But again, oftentimes waxing services or lashes, you get into the service room and the client wants more. So those are some of the requests that I normally see. And then streamlined options. So how about considering one of the following as a modification if you don't go like full board into completely changing your menu? A spa menu that's seasonal, or a menu that addresses those 3 major skin concerns noted by client surveys. I'm always big on asking clients what they want, because often they'll tell you and then you're like, wait a minute, I have a whole menu of these services and 10 of my clients say that they want this. Does that mean that they're going somewhere else? And then finally, a big one is a menu of services booked strictly on the amount of time that you're spending with the guest. So when I think about the bulk of massage services, the cost of goods are pretty much the same, but the difference is how you're booking on time. And that's really how we've almost always booked massage. But sometimes facial services from certain vendors can be within $3 or $4 cost per application of each other, but yet the service offering on the menu is priced all over the place, and price can always be a deterrent. People always book on convenience or price. So that's just some thoughts. So questions, anything come up yet? Sorry, I'm sharing the screen and so I can't see everyone's smiling face.
Nothing has come up yet, but just to your point about the pricing, sometimes that's true even not for the lesser price, but also like if you want the best service, you're thinking, okay, well then that's going to be the most expensive one if it's based off of not by time, but by products used. You might not actually be right in that estimate or in that assumption.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's where I do often recommend to survey your clients, ask them what they are looking for, and perhaps do that once a year. You can call it a care survey, you can call it a we love you and want to know, however you spin it. Again, going back to what John originally said about customization, clients love customization, when it's good for them. So you can take all of that raw data and distill it down into something that works for you. So that's why maybe even seasonal might be a better option for you. So then finally is marketing your current modifications. So last week I talked about the discussion point of creating a vision or mission statement. This again would be a great time to share this with your client base as a foundation for what you're looking to potentially make changes on and why you're bringing forth new adjusted offerings at this time. Plainly stated, you're offering that your guests come first and you want to exceed their needs and communicate that that is the utmost of importance to you. In addition to the utmost importance to your team and the overall ethos of your business. People need to know about your brand. Each person on the phone or on the call with us today has a business model that is a reason why our clients come to see. And often communicating solidly what that means is a great way to endear someone to you, not only as a therapist, but also as a business. Next is new offerings, a high touch offering, adding in wellness. That was another one that I saw most frequently, is that's what people are asking for, is wellness services, because the stress of every day right now is just really gotten to people. So as they come back to spa, the first thing they're talking about is posture. The next thing they're talking about is acne they've never had or breakouts they've never had. So maybe working in high touch services that cannot be performed at home, like I talked about last week. So relaxation, or of course, LED. That's a really big one that people are seeing a lot of, and it looks, you know, super kind of cool. And so people ask a lot of questions about that. So LED is a good one to have too. And then add-ons, the amazing Tighten Up Express neck treat that Jana and Missy did earlier in the week, or an eye treatment. Simple, can be done while the mask is on, and allow you to address something that people, you know, if the eyes are the window to the soul this year and lashes and all of that's being worked on, something you can offer. And then finally, series. Oftentimes I see on spa menus are series offerings of 6 peels, you know, booked consecutively. Oftentimes series are at the bottom of the menu. And so by the time the guest gets down there, they've already read a lot. And so how about we think about bumping the information about your series services to the top of the menu as the first item, and think about maybe showcasing it as a premier membership type of offering. Can really assist you in offering more and getting those customers coming back. Retention is the key, of course. Any questions?
Thank you for all of that information. So far, we do not have questions coming in.
All right. So the resources, again, Harvard Business Review, American Spa Magazine. I even went to Trip Savvy, a website talking about feedback, Day Spa Magazine, and then of course Mind Body. I gave you the author's name along with the name of the article so that you could really dive in. There is so much information out there to really learn about what your customer is looking for and what trends that blind studies are being revealed about services that are out there. And I love having that sort of quantifiable what people are looking for today, because it helps me to be as open-minded as possible. So in summary, today we reviewed how and what making minor alterations to your existing menu of services might be. We covered the state of the spa business with some really pointed statistics, current menu of services, those menu examples that we had, requests, streamlined options, marketing your current updates, and then the summary. So again, we will provide a transcript of this meeting, and I always suggest that you work with your regional account executive, because they will help you to guide you into, if you do want to make changes to that menu, As many of you have learned from me in the past, I have shared that because we have an in-house art department, often we will assist in creating menu inserts to spotlight treatments to make it easier for the consumer. And we'll put them in a 5x7 frame right with the retail next to the enzyme trio that we have, so that the customer, after receiving the signature facial, comes out and knows exactly, it's kind of a wayfinder. So we can definitely assist in producing that for you, in putting your logo along with ours at the bottom, and it really helps to provide communication to your client. So I hope that you found this session to be helpful. I hope it at least maybe made you think a little bit, and that if there's any way that we can assist you in any of these ideas, you would love to help. So that's what I got for you.
Thank you. And Shelly is asking to read more about the trends, but we'll email. Is that going to be in your email?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, I'll basically send what I sent to you, Jonna, this morning, which was the whole script of the presentation that I was looking at while I was presenting, and the visuals that I had. So if you did want those also, sometimes it's also great to show to your team. If you're thinking about making a change, or if you have a couple of other therapists and you say, hey, I attended a Zoom session and we talked about this, sometimes having visuals illuminate it.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And before we give you that wholesale offer code for today, will you share with us one more time what's happening next week?
Absolutely. So again, on Monday is our Ask Our Experts special edition. Meeting our team is what we're going to call it. And you're going to get to talk to Mike, our CEO, Mike Lorman, who is Colleen's son. And I am hoping that everyone on the session will get to see what I love about working for Mike, and get to learn about his heart and how much he cares for our business. And then on Wednesday, we're doing Common Asks, that's ASKS, an open Q&A. Questions about the brand, questions about formulation that we can help to answer, to bring to you additional transparency about the brand. And then on Friday, post-treatment specialties with Tambra and Jonna. And we'll be talking about what products to recommend after maybe more slightly invasive or services or peels.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So our wholesale offer code for today, is it menu?
Is it menu? Yes, it is.
So that's 10% off your order for today. And don't forget, our Bulgarian Rose is on special this month. It's one of my favorites, of course. Everyone's always joking that I say that about every product, but it is true. So we'll see you next week. But was there one more thing? Oh yes, if you haven't already entered your email address, if you just want to do that so that we can follow up with all of this wonderful information, and also enter you to win our products giveaway that we'll announce on Monday with Mike.
Thank you all for joining. I really appreciate it. And any feedback that you have, please do let your account executive know, and we'll send out a follow-up, as Jonna said.
Thank you all so much. Have a great weekend.
Bye, everyone. You too.